Good afternoon and evening, everyone, and welcome to Stamp Panels presented by the Royal Philatelic Society of Canada. Today, we have me, and so far, Jerry, Artie, and Frederick. And who else is going to join us later? We will find out. Tonight, we have our summer show and share, where we are going to show our philatelic goodies. And I'm not sure what the others have to share, but we will find out. I'm sure it will be fun. We would like to thank Longley Auctions, our sponsor for Stamp Talks and Stamp Panels. Longley Auctions is a public auction firm specializing in selling Canadian postal history, also large worldwide collections, stamps, postcards, and philatelic literature. So be sure to check out longleyauctions.com and then show us what you got at the next show and share. I would like to acknowledge that we are meeting virtually today on many traditional unceded treaty territories across this land. I am joining you from Toronto, which is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. Because we are gathered digitally from coast to coast, I encourage everyone to take a moment to reflect on the specific Indigenous peoples and lands where you are today. We offer our respect to the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples who have stewarded these lands since time immemorial, and we will reaffirm our commitment to the ongoing journey of reconciliation. Thank you. So I'm going to share my screen. Share this screen. Screen one. Okay. Share. And then going to start my slideshow. Okie dokie. There we go. Oh, the Zoom is covering my notes. Okay, I'm just going to not see anyone for a little bit. Okay, so as some of you know, every year I go to Mexico as a volunteer with an organization called Medical Ministry International. And this is a partial team photo. I didn't have a good one of the whole team this year. And please indulge me a moment in saying, I just love these guys so much. So on these projects, what we do is we have an optometry clinic where we do, normal eye exams like you and I would do at the optometrist's office. And I usually work out of optometry. So that picture on the left, those are actually my eyes. And we also have a surgical team that just does like a marathon of cataract surgeries all day. And last year, I assisted with the sterilization of surgical instruments. That was a very new experience for me. I did not do that this year. So this year, in 4 days in the optometry clinic, we had 188 patients, and we gave 145 pairs of glasses. Some people got 2. It's difficult to match people if they need bifocal, so we give them like reading classes and distance classes. So we improved life for, let's say, 140 people or so. And the surgical team, my goodness, okay, I need to shout out on the left, Dr. Charles Cohen, and on the right, Dr. Antonio Lopez Ramos and their teams. They did 174 cataract surgeries in 4 days. 174 people who were blind can now see because of what they and their teams did. It's amazing. 4 days. And if you didn't spot me yet, that's me right there. Okay, but you guys didn't come here to hear me talk about the medical project. You're here for philately. So after the project, a few of us, we stayed in Mexico, and we decided to go on what we called adventures. Of course, I brought my other little friend, Mr. Wiggles, with me, my stamp bug, and we did some extreme philately together. So the first extreme philately we did was at Las Cascadas de Agua Azul, which is the blue waterfalls in Chiapas, Mexico. And it's where that orange dot is on the map. And it is a very tourist destination. They've got lots of little shops, and they expect people to spend money, go to a restaurant, have a coffee, etc. This stamp was a part of a series in 1979, Mexican Stamps Promoting Tourism. There were 4 stamps in this set, and there were further similar stamps issued in 1982, 1983, and 1987. Come on, next picture. Okay. The next extreme philately I did was at Palenque, una zona arqueológico, which is a archaeological zone featuring Mayan ruins amidst the jungle that you can see in the background. And this map is where Palenque is in relation to Agua Azul, so also in the south, very close to Guatemala. It's about an hour and a half away from Agua Azul. So this stamp is also a stamp promoting tourism. There was a series of them in 1997 promoting the various states. So this illustration isn't just one place. It is it's Palenque and Agua Azul. You see the blue water and some of the animals, the local fauna. So this is El Templo de Inscripciones, the Temple of Inscriptions. And if I recall correctly from what the guide told me, and I may not remember correctly, the 3 structures shown here are tombs. The one in the middle for sure is a tomb for La Reina Roja, the Red Queen. And I forget why she was called that. I'm very much not a history person, so sorry. And the last extreme philately I have to share with you is La Cruz de Palenque at the El Templo de la Cruz, which is the Palenque cross at the Temple of the Cross. And I feel like it's probably obvious. Like the Mayans were here in this area of Mexico from year 100 to approximately 800 is this area. I want to say that this cross has nothing to do with Christianity. Just putting it out there. So these were both issued in 1934. There were 2 colors, purple and blue. And in the photo that I took, the purple looks red because like the sun was backlighting it. There are 3 temples here, and each were dedicated to a different god. Also, this tour was in Spanish, and my Spanish isn't so great, but I'm pretty sure I got that part right. And you can see there's a person, you see my mouse in there. There's a person going up the steps here so that you can kind of get a scale of how high this goes. The cross that's in the photo, or that's in the stamp, is in that top chamber there. And this is the chamber. The cross was here. It's now empty. The cross is now in a museum. But, I figured it was there for, some 1,000 years or more. And I missed it maybe a couple of decades. I figured it was good enough for the extreme philately. Here's a view from the top steps of the chamber. This is a panorama. So, where it's bent, it's actually straight. And just to prove that Mr. Wiggles made it to the top, there he is. He definitely made it to the top of the temple with me. Okay, so if you guys want to look at these photos and some more extreme philately, you can see more on PixPost, which is an app that is available on Google Play, the App Store, and check out pixpost.net. If you don't know what that is, it is an app where people share photos of extreme philately. You can see another extreme philately I did at the ROM. People pin events, so I pin the Royal, post offices, post boxes, postcards, extreme deltiology. It's just a way for people to share their postal experiences. And shameless plug, if you would like to support my 2027 trip, because it does cost a pretty penny for me to get there, the adventures notwithstanding, you can make a donation to to support my trip next year at this link. Okie dokie, thanks for listening. I'm going to stop my share and invite Jerry for your turn. Go for it, Jerry. All
Okay,
right, we are unmuted.
are you going to be able to share put my slides up, or do you want me to try my?
I can, but that might take a second. So why don't we have Arnie go first while I pull those up?
Sure.
Okay, in that case, go for it, Arnie.
Okay, I'm just closing some other things on my desktop and we will be there. And and yes, we're gonna look at number 8, unit trade number 8, the halfpenny Queen Victoria, a pair of them, in an 1857 livestock auction catalog. It's considered printed matter. Fairly straightforward, but this is quite the rabbit hole. Okay, here it is, recently purchased in an auction. And it's got two printed catalogs. So it's got two of the 8 cent. There they are. And it's addressed to Mr. Jones and Company, DF Jones and Company. We'll talk about them. Here are the stamps themselves. The bottom one has got a beautiful margins. This one's got a little bit of a nick in it here, but they both have the 4-ring number 15 from Guelph, which is a rarity factor of 8, quite rare, and in that scale of 1 to 10. Now, what's on the other side, though? This is where it gets interesting. Oh, and green cert, fairly straightforward. Here we have the auction catalog. It's a for livestock auction, 24 pages, 4.5 by 7, bound with loops of thread. Very interesting. We can see some string down here. I'm blowing it up here. So this is how it was bound. This is the 24 pages, weighs 15 grams, and that's just over half an ounce. And it is, I don't know if there was 2 catalogs bound together. I don't think so. Why the 2 stamps and how the postage rate, we're struggling with that, trying to figure that out. Got some information from Garfield. And so that's still why there were 2 stamps on it instead of just 1. We're not sure. The actual catalog, though, is interesting. We're going to look at this part of the page first. And in particular, it's imported and far famed herd of purebred shorthorn cattle, Cotswold and Southdown sheep, Berkshire and small white breed of pigs, fairly straightforward. We're going to learn this part. Belonging to Frederick William Stone, Esquire, at Morton Lodge is the name of his farm. 1857, with refreshments at 11, sale starts at 12. The stamp was issued August 1st. And so with the auction catalog likely going out towards the end of August, in order for people, the guy to whom the catalog was mailed lived in Gananoque, which is on the other side of Kingston. So you can still consider this to be likely early usage if it's within that first month, certainly within 5 weeks, likely, even if it went out the first week of September. So still fairly early usage for a pair of wonderful number 8s. Belonging to Frederick William Stone, Esquire. Well, who was he? 1814 to 1895. Very prominent, famous livestock breeder, inducted into the Hall of Fame. And citation reads, his greatest contribution to Ontario agriculture was as the first importer of Hereford cattle to Canada in 1866. And of course, the Herefords are now an integral part of the industry, cattle and dairy industry in Canada. 1873, so about 15, 16 years after the auction, the Ontario government bought 500 acres. And that in 1874, they opened up the Ontario Agricultural College with their first 20 students. They lived in his home, became both a lecture hall and the residence for people. And ultimately that became the University of Guelph. So this little piece of farm, 500 acres, now I understand why the address for the University of Guelph is 50 Stone Road East. I went to the University of Guelph. I'm a graduate of OAC and University of Guelph. And the Stone Road Mall is very close to. Now I know, all named after Frederick William Stone. We're going to go a little bit more into him. If you go to the University of Guelph website, this is a snapshot of their actual website. It's not a very pretty picture here. There's a lot of nicer pictures of it. This is called the portico on campus. And it's the front entrance of Mr. Stone's farmhouse. It became part of Old Johnston Hall before it was removed to Johnston Green. Johnston Green is the great park in front of Johnston Hall. That's sort of the landmark at the University of Guelph in terms of open space, right in the middle of campus. Interestingly, though, the portico is also a very popular place to have your graduation photos taken. And yes, in 1979, how many years ago that was, I had my picture taken there. But I couldn't come up with it. I've only got this catalog recently, and I haven't found my picture. But yes, like all these girls here, I had my picture taken just in front of it, not right where they are, a few steps in front of it. And so there's a little bit of a personal connection there with the University of Guelph and the portico and Mr. Stone's front entranceway. Now a little more about the catalog itself. Guelph is on the Grand Trunk Railway, offers easy conveyance to parties purchasing stock. It's expected that it'll be in operation before the sale. Well, and September 15th, the day before, the Berlin Chronicle says, well, the line will positively be opened on September 28th. So if you bought stuff at his auction, you're going to either have to get it to another train station somehow or wait a few weeks. Fairly straightforward. Fun, though, to check up on that. There's a little personal note from him in this paragraph here. In presenting this catalog, I have given the pedigrees of my herd, feeling confident that the stock therein contains some of the best stock to be found on this continent. And it's interesting because the pedigrees that he kind of lists with these cattle and animals is pretty impressive. We're going to look at a couple of them. At Morton Lodge down here, Canada West, August 1857. So, on the cows and heifers, there's 24 pages, as I said. Here he's got some cows at $110 and $180. $110 in 1857 would be about $4,000 now. I did a quick check with Gemini. Gemini says a 3-year-old milking cow sells for about $2,500 to $5,000 in 2026. That's reasonable. This one here, a little bit bigger pedigree here, $180. That would be likely more than $5,000. So it's cows and heifers, pretty. And now we're going to go on to this one here has got 7 generations. These are great, 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 grand, and daughter. So there's quite a few generations here for this one. And that's all important. And I guess in this breeding, all of these other numbers here, this is 161. Comus is number 161 in the registry, in the American registry of cattle. And this is the UK registry, number 6. Fabius is number 60. So all of these animals have a central registry where the animal numbers are assigned and they are tracked with their pedigree. And here we're now looking at the bulls. John O'Gaunt, second red and white calved in December 52, imported in 54. And so these are the other numbers for $550. That's 13 generations. Great, 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 great. And daughter, it's not son. I don't know how that works. Daughter, whatever it is. It's now Snowden bull for $550. And if we look down, there's another page, page 17. For this Grand Turk bull, it's $800, which in 1857 would be about $32,000 now for a bull. That's a lot of money. He had a lot of value in his animals, and that's why he had some wonderful pedigreed cows and bulls. And, well, that's why he did a lot of good work for the cattle and beef industry. Here he also had some sheep. We're not going to talk too much about the sheep and pigs on page 22 and 23. But they were also going to look at the addressee, David Ford Jones. This is the guy who received the catalog and to whom it's addressed. Served in the militia in the 80s Upper Canada Rebellion. His business was making shovels mainly. And he became G.F. Jones and Company. And they also manufacture other farm implements, but their legacy is as a shovel manufacturer. Elected to Parliament, 1864. That was before Confederation, and then after Confederation again in 74 and 78. And commanded artillery in Gananoque. Well, we all know who the mayor of Gananoque is, or perhaps we do. It's another stamp dealer, John Beddoes. He is the current mayor of Gananoque. And I sent him some message and information, and he forwarded me some information on David Ford Jones, including there's a Gananoque Waterfront Trail honoring the site of D.F. Jones Shovel Company. This stone marks the site of the Jones Shovel Company. And these are just a sampling of the shovel types. And it's interesting in here, if you look at it carefully, they're all priced per dozen. So obviously this is some kind of wholesaler who's selling shovels by the dozen, but they're all different kinds, and this is only a small fraction of them. And here's from the Gananoque Historical Museum, 1852 to 1965. A shovel for every need was their slogan. During World War I, they made 1,200 shovels for the Canadian Army, but 60,000 for the British. And those 60,000, it's reported in the records, that they had to be delivered within 2 months. So they were a busy, busy shop. Special thanks to John for this information. Now we're going to go back. That's just a quick summary of the stamps. Some beautiful pair of number 8s with a wonderful cancel on a catalog for the Morton Lodge auction of farmhands livestock belonging to Mr. Stone, who sold his land and it became the Ontario Agricultural College, which became the University of Guelph, and his house front entranceway became the portico. And there's me. What an interesting cover.
From the beginning. So I pulled this cover out. I got it many years ago. I think I got it as trade for something that a friend of mine really wanted that I had. And as I've written in here, it says an initial look at this item suggests it belongs in a dollar box. It's an updated postal stationery item mailed from Poland to Canada, although it has a tear in the lower left-hand corner that you can't really see here. It could look quite presentable in a collection of airmail covers, uprated stationery covers, or covers showing a feather or a ship. But it's the reverse side of the cover that greatly increases its value, at least to some collectors. So let me flip to that. Okay, so this is a cachet that's on the back of the cover, and it reads "Salvage from air crash, July the 5th." And here you can see the tear I was talking about. An Air Canada DC-8 flight 621 from Montreal to Toronto crashed in the field north of Pearson Airport after an abortive landing attempt. 109 passengers and crew perished in the disaster. The aircraft was carrying about 1,100 pounds of mail and 43 bags of first and third class mail and 126 registered letters. About 600 pounds of mail was salvaged. Each item received a cachet salvaged from air crash July the 5th. The field that the plane crashes was close to what is now Brampton. Anyway, so I thought I would share this because it's initially when I wrote this thing up, I wrote it up in such a way that it was on a page, and if you turn the page, you could see both sides. And I titled it "It Pays to Check Both Sides of a Cover."
Jerry, we can't see the back of the cover. Could you advance to the second slide?
Oh, you can't see it?
No, we're still seeing the front.
Oh, okay. Let me let me see what I can do here. Oh, I'm gonna go.
We can see it in the sidebar. Yeah, click there. There
Yeah,
it is.
yeah. So can you see it now better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I thought I'd show that. Now, after saying it, that it pays to check both sides of a cover, when you're rummaging through material, sometimes, or very, very often, you don't have the time to do that, and only when you pick up something more interesting, that you look on the back. This is something that even though I collect Poland, I wouldn't have been interested in that postal stationery uh, from that era, and I would have just passed by it. Uh, anyway, so that's my show and tell for tonight's presentation. Any questions? Nope. Okay. Stop share.
All right, thanks, Jerry. Frederick, you're up next.
All righty. See if we can get the share to work.
That's what I often have problems with, getting it to work properly.
All right, we see your share.
All right. So for those who have participated in our last couple show and share sessions, may remember that I've been researching Wonderland, California, which was a recreational and resort area that operated in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s. And I've shown and talked about some of these John Coulthard Alice in Wonderland, California cachet covers that were posted at the Wonderland, California post office that operated during that time. Now, recently, I decided that I would try to acquire enough material to put together a one-frame exhibit on Wonderland, California. Lisa mentioned that a good topic would be to talk about a one-frame exhibit. And indeed, I've been thinking that what I might do is just bring everyone along with me and share my journey over the next couple of show and share sessions. So you can see how successful I hope to be, as well as to encourage anyone who has thoughts about how to do this to share them with all of us. So the first, one of the first things that I would expect to do with the exhibit was to address the question, where was Wonderland, California? Now, you've seen these two maps before. Wonderland was in Plumas County, which is located in the northeast corner of the state of California. And it was that area that was called Wonderland was 12 miles northwest of Chester, which is in the northwest corner of the county. Now, this map doesn't show it, but just northwest of Wonderland was the Lassen Volcanic National Park, still is there today, and north of that, Mount Shasta and Lake Shasta. And we'll come back to those in just a moment. While we're here, note that in the middle of the county where that red circled star is Quincy, which is the county seat. Now, in an exhibit, you want to show philatelic material, of course, and I'd love to have some that would show where Wonderland, California was located. I haven't found any yet, so there might be maps like these two maps that we've just seen here in the exhibit in order to show folks in terms of a picture where this area was. Now, one of the next questions that the exhibit would address would be, why was this area called Wonderland? Now here, AI has been some help. So AI has told me that there are no specific or definitive explanation or explanations anywhere in the internet as to why this area was called Wonderland. But a number of the AI sources have pointed out that during this time, so the first half of the 1900s, Wonderland was a name that was applied to a number of geographic places, businesses, activities, and events, particularly in the state of California. Now, I'm not suggesting that the next couple of real photo postcards necessarily provide an explanation for why Wonderland was named as it was, but the Wonderland area was trapped between the Shasta Cascade Wonderland to the north, Mount Shasta and Lake Shasta, and the Feather River Wonderland to the south, which was located just southwest of Quincy, which we saw on the map a couple of slides ago. So I thought this would be a good way to motivate why Wonderland might have been called Wonderland at that time. That, again, that it was located between two areas that were known at the time as Wonderlands, the Shasta Cascade Wonderland and the Feather River Wonderland. Now, these are RPCCs, real photo postcards. So here's the back of one of them. This is the back of the Mount Shasta card. You can see that they were both created by Stanley A. Pilt's company in San Francisco. These cards were called photochrome or chromolithographic cards, and also were known as, quote, linen, unquote, cards. Now, there's no linen in linen cards. So linen comes from the fact that, whoops, too soon, that in 1931, the Kurt Teich Company created a process of embossing horizontal and vertical slopes on cardstock. And if you look carefully here at the Shasta card, I think you can see the vertical lines pretty clearly. And if you squint on the Feather River Wonderland card, I think you can see the horizontal lines as well. The idea was to create additional surface area on the card for the deposition of ink through a lithographic process. It resulted in these cards that are quite vibrant and look to people like they had been chromed, like chrome on cards. That's where the chromolithography or photochrome name came from. The card surface has a waffle-like appearance. So if you can imagine a waffle made from a waffle maker, or get a waffle from Waffle House or a similar restaurant that you might have in Canada. So again, no linen in the linen cards. The cards that were made using the chromolithographic technique were mostly known as art color tones or art tones. And you can see that the Stanley Pilt's company called their card series here Pictorial Wonderland and called it Art-Tone or Art Tone series. So there's a whole series of these pictures made by the Stanley A. Pilz Company that showed places that had Wonderland in their name, and the card number is in the upper right-hand corner. So this is card number 728, and that card is number 841. Now go back here just to the second map for a moment again. Wonderland was located 12 miles northwest of Chester. So in the early 1900s, Chester was the gateway to Wonderland. And when we have our next show and share, I'll move forward with what I'm doing with the exhibit, and I'll show you what Chester would have looked like at that time. So if you came to or through Chester on your way to Wonderland, what you would have seen, and then what it would have looked like on the road driving from Chester to Wonderland. So I have acquired some material that show that aspect of the story, as well as a few pieces from Wonderland itself. I'm nowhere near 16 pages, but isn't it fun to look for material for a new exhibit? So if anyone has ideas about how to develop the story of Wonderland, California, or if you see any material that I might be able to use, do please give me a shout. Plus, it's nice to look at these chromolithograph cards, these linen cards. They're very attractive, I think. So that's it.
The the audio is supported by Bell Rural Internet, so if it breaks up, you'll know why. I have a few GB items that I haven't shown before that various people had expressed an interest in seeing, and one other. So the first one is the most recent purchase. There we are. Great Britain 1 shilling embossed stamp. These look like the cutouts from postal stationery, but these are actually the postage stamps that came. The higher values were embossed. They're sort of contemporaneous with the penny black and tuppenny blue. This one I got because it's got a rather nice blue diamond council 265 for Kildare, which is near Cork, which used to be Queenstown in Ireland. The blue is the same blue as the Kildare posting mark, and then it's transatlantic to what looks like Pennsylvania. Interesting spelling of Pennsylvania. The 5 cents is the US internal rate to get it from New York to Bradford, Pennsylvania, which is less than 300 miles as the crow flies. But these days it's more than 300 miles by road. There are 2 British transit marks. I haven't identified where they're from. And because of the date, the stamp has die numbers in the base, and this must, from the date, this must be die 1. It says paid 24, which I presume is paid 24 cents, which is the equivalent of 2 shillings, because for a long time the exchange rate was pretty well 2 cents to the shilling. Something for Jerry to wake him up.
Awake.
So I shouldn't slander Jerry like that. Just after World War II, most of Europe got all-up service. So you didn't need airmail stickers, and the mail went either by airmail or by surface, depending on the time of day and the weather, both the marine forecast and the air forecast. And the rate was initially threepence and then became fourpence a little bit later. But the airmail rate announcement in the London Gazette, paragraph 1, subparagraph 1, listed Poland, Iceland, and Germany separately. So this shows 4.5 pence to Poland during that period. I'm a little bit suspicious that the 2.5 penny stamp has been replaced. Sorry, can't type. The 2 penny is original. The 2.5 may have been replaced. I am looking for one of more guaranteed provenance. This looks like a fairly ordinary philatelic cover, but it is at the obscure rate to Iceland, which is a fairly obscure destination to begin with. And this rate lasted into Queen Elizabeth's reign, so you will probably see this cover, unless I get one that looks more commercial, in my QE2 rate exhibit, because it went on till about 1953. So that was Iceland. And then Germany. I was going to look up how long that lasted. I think it was 48 and 49 after All Up to Europe was introduced, and then it rapidly became all up mail to Germany as well. Right. So yeah, these airmail rate groups, we now call them Zone A, Zone B, and Zone C, because that rolls off the tongue and was used officially beginning, I think, in the 50s. Originally, this destination was paragraph 1, subparagraph 4, which doesn't really trip off the tongue. 1 and 3 pence. The rates went down with the introduction of the 3 zones. So what had been a 1 and 3 rate to Canada and the United States, amongst other places, it went down to a shilling just after peace broke out, and stayed there till 1952. The overseas rate amendment in 1952 does not actually mention that the rates went up, because in the original rates, the statement is that the Postmaster General may waive any part of airmail rates as he sees fit, and the rate set by Parliament was not to exceed 2 shillings and 6pence per half ounce. So you don't see the new announcements in the Post Office or Treasury warrants. So this is the Canal Zone in Central America, which they're often listed as Zone BC or Zone CB, meaning they were C for about a year, and then B, or their Zone B star, the star or asterisk, the asterisk saying, they started off as Zone C. Well, they weren't really Zone C because that hadn't been introduced yet. But and then this is Venezuela in South America, which also 1 and 3 penny rate, also started off as paragraph 1, subparagraph 4, and then became that paragraph became Zone C later, and then the destination became paragraph 3 before that, and then became Zone C. So that's a nice confusing bit of British airmail postal history. And that's the end.
Duncan, on the previous slide, the
Yeah.
one to the canal zone, what's written below the airmail sticker?
Yep. Oh, true weight arrival.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
because it's going to
passenger
Apache on the ship.
passenger per SS
Yeah,
Vinny
yeah, yeah. I saw that part, but I couldn't make out what it said, what was written under the sticker. Okay, thank you.
Anyway, those are some fun little exceptions to the rule of Zone ABC and all up airmail to Europe. It became simple except for 3 exceptions.
All right, what you're seeing is a piece of postal stationery. I'm US, but so that you're seeing a piece of US postal stationery. It is a business reply card, but it was overprinted for use by the United States Postal Service. And this was being done by the postmaster in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And what they're doing is, this is for the zone directory. This is back in the 1950s. And when they first brought out postal zones, which later became zip code. So this was, you could get your zone directory, postal zone book. They were allowing people to do it, and they were trying to get businesses to do it. And this is what they sent, and you got it sent to you, and then you sent back to the postmaster. So this is the side that the bottom of that shows you the side as it would look if you got it in the mail. And let me see if I can get to the second slide. Yep, there you go. There's what the other side would look like that you would send back. So those are some neat little things that I've been working on, is these penalty overprints on US postal stationery, where they had postal stationery and used it for official use. Okay, anybody have any questions on that?
I like to ask where you found this item.
Good question. Probably in a dollar box.
The best box.
I have been collecting United States or postal stationery that's been overprinted for official use. Originally, I was told it was because it was excess postal stationery and they just printed the penalty over it to get rid of some excess postal stationery. The problem with that is every piece I have is the proper rate for, and it was the current postal stationery at the time of use. Like this piece. This is the actual current postal stationery that was in use at that time. And they used it for this purpose and for penalty use. They could have done this on regular just cardstock without the postal stationery. But for about 10 years, I'm finding large amounts of postal stationery that was overprinted for official use. It was all during the 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Frank, could it have been because the postal stationery itself was not a big seller?
No, these are all actually current usable postal stationery that would have, matter of fact, I've got pieces that are just out and were used at the time they just got issued. So somewhere, and I need to start looking through the domestic mail manual, the DMM, and see if there's a ruling that the postmaster made that said they were to use actual postal stationery for the right rate. to do their official business. Because I've also found, said during the same time, just, regular penalty envelopes, that were printed and used for the agencies. Almost all of the ones I have are used by the Postal Service itself, not other agencies. I have yet to find any other agencies. But I'd love to.
Do you collect like modern, current items like this?
Yes.
I know currently there are still envelopes that'll say, penalty for misuse.
Yep. Yep. The penalty statement is I collect that, and I collect it all the way back to the 1800s when they first started that, all the way up to current, and up to the 1980s when official stamps became the requirement again. And then after it, when they went back to it.
A follow-up question to that is, do you know off the top of your head what the current penalty for misuse is?
Still $300.
Okay,
that penalty,
$300 is a lot of money in that time.
That price has never changed. That price has not changed since the 1800s.
Fascinating.
That has been the penalty since the beginning. And if somebody wants to know, yes, people have been prosecuted for it.
Was that penalty set by Congress?
Yes.
And that's why it hasn't changed?
That's why Congress it hasn't changed. And the Postal Service has seen no need to change it. It's been enough of a deterrent. Most people will see that on the mail and will not use it. During World War II, soldiers would cover over the penalty statement on purpose. They'd cross it all out and put their stamp over the top of it if they were using official stationery to do mailing and it was for personal use. A lot of them would do that. They couldn't find their own envelopes, so they wouldn't buy their own envelopes. They would take an official statement and cross out the penalty statement and put their stamp right over the top of it. I have several pieces of that.
Well, maybe after Arnie shows us his part 2, you could show us a couple of those for your part 2.
I don't have any other ones ready to go.
Okay.
I do have a whole presentation I could do at some point in time if you so desire.
I'm absolutely so desiring. We'll put you on the roster for a future presentation.
I have an introduction to this whole topic.
Okay, sounds good to me.
But I thought this is my most unique piece and the latest one used. I'll stop my share. And we're back.
All right. Well, thanks, Frank. That was very interesting. All right, Arnie, I think it's time for your part 2.
Share and open up the Alcott Brown flight. Here we have an interesting first day cover. Let's go back to the beginning of the presentation. It's the first non-stop transatlantic flight, and it's the first day cover commemorating it. I just put this together since I started the meeting. Here we have, it's fairly straightforward. This is the Cole version. There are different versions of this available. Mailed to a Mr. Gourley in Islington, and that's using that old Ontario-Toronto postal code system. And we have, as you'd expect, a nice cancel on it with a maple leaf. And also addressed to Mr. Gourley, we have another, the same stamp, but this is on a Cole cover. No, this is actually the Rosecraft. This is what I was trying to change. This is the Rosecraft color cover. And here we just see a partial of that cancel. Interesting. And guess what? When we put these two covers on top of each other, that's what we get. We get these two covers. I'm going to zoom in here. These two covers went through the machine just like as you see them now. And the first cover got most of the cancel, and the cover that's underneath got the rest of it. So here we have this. My God, I don't even know what I call this as a variety or an error. A simultaneous canceling of two covers, both addressed to Mr. Gourley. Is that unusual? To keep them together. So I had some theories as to how this could happen. If anybody else knows, I think I've got now, after sending out feelers, I think I have now got the final sequence of events that happened to have this kind of simultaneous cancel on two covers, if you want to call it. My first theory was that Mr. Gourley had a subscription with Canada Post, and he would sell Canada Post, with every stamp issue, send me a cold cover and send me a Rosecraft cover with that stamp and the commemorative cancel. And so what happened then, this clerk at Canada Post, would get this order in front of her and would take this pile for one of these cold covers and one of these and address them and then put them through her canceling machine. And whenever she put them through, they got misfed, and they obviously what happened here. Now, and that was my theory, and then she mailed them off. And he managed to keep them together even. That's the amazing part. But when I asked other people, other collectors more experienced than I, because I don't generally collect first day covers, how could this happen? According to Andrew Chung, and thanks to Brian Collins for helping me with this, Andrew Chung says what you would do, what at this in this time frame period, the commemorative cachet covers were issued before the stamps were ever issued. And you would go somewhere and buy them and mail them to Canada Post, and you'd have to pay for the value of the stamps, in this case 15 cents times 2, 30 cents, plus 5 cents per cover. And they would apply the stamp to the cover you submit and then cancel it and mail it back to you. So that's apparently the official sequence, is you buy the cachets beforehand, send them into Canada Post, they put the stamp on and cancel it and send it back. But I got to admit, I think this kind of a scenario of having two covers canceled simultaneously and still together after 40, 50 years, interesting. Unique? No, maybe not. Unusual? Probably. And that's it. Any questions? Here they are here. There's the one with just the partial cancel on the right-hand side. And here's the other one with the most of the cancel, but missing the rest of the maple leaf. So it's these two together that make up that.
Presumably you had purchased them together as well?
Yes. Yes. I just got them from the Longley auction.
Thanks, Bill.
Have you seen any other covers to the same addressee with the same handwriting that might suggest that they were in fact self-addressed by the collector, by the addressee?
Yeah, but yeah, that's entirely possible. Yep.
Raise hand.
that you submitted them, and they would then put them into a separate envelope and mail them to you unaddressed. That's entirely possible. Okay.
Looks like Frank's got some comments.
Yeah, this happens in US too, constantly. If your envelopes, when it comes through the machine to do the actual cancellation, it's supposed to hit one and knock it on. Not necessarily because of the width of the envelopes, especially if you don't have a real thick filler in it or no filler, they would stick together. And I've seen them come through where the bottom one never has any cancel on it whatsoever. And then somebody at the local place puts a nice pen mark through it.
Andrew Chung, who's intimately familiar with Canada Post operations, says they were very careful in their quality control, and you would expect someone to have caught this pretty easily, but it slipped through the cracks.
Well, like I said, it came through the two together, and when they came through, nobody noticed the fact that there was two envelopes there. They probably had either no filler or a very, very thin filler. Probably no filler. And therefore, when they went through, the machine took them both at the same time.
Thank you, Frank. If you have no other presentations, as you know, Lisa, I can quickly. I've already.
You're the song that never ends.
Yes, yes, but
well, I am looking at the time. We did hit 8:15. Well, 8:14.
Okay, that's fine.
Perhaps we can save them for our next show and share. All righty then. Well, I would like to thank everyone who joined us. Everyone who gave a presentation. Arnie, Frank, Frederick, Jerry, and Duncan.
How many total participants did you have?
Sorry?
How many total attendees did you have?
I think we hit 17.
Okay.
But then there's also us presenters as well, so 23.
Okay. 17 total.
Yeah. Well, I think people have departed now. So thank you everyone for presenting and everyone who came and just watched and saw our interesting things. I'd like to thank again Along the Auctions, our sponsor. And I don't know what we're doing next month off the top of my head. So sorry, but please do join us when we get around to sending that email out. Until then, we'll see you then. And until then, have a good summer. Okie dokie. All right. Have a good night.